morning, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast, and a lot going on over the weekend. How was yours?
Hey, listen, this weekend was interesting. I will. It started off. They closed down the Ben Franklin Bridge, and 100 years ago on Saturday, the bridge turned 100.
Okay.
The first people walked across the bridge, and so with a lot of coaxing from my girlfriend, from Jody, who you know, for the most part, forced me to go across this bridge.
Fair
um,
enough. Fair enough.
but I got to right in between. I was, half of me was in Pennsylvania, half of me was in New Jersey, standing on the bridge. Did some content there,
Hey.
and then, of course, it not only was, it was very little warm, and also humid.
Mhm.
So I didn't paint my face up, but we also went to go to the All-Star Village in Philadelphia, which was, cool. You get to see
You're definitely
the
selling it. You're like,
yeah.
it was cool.
I mean, so lines of people, and doesn't excite me. You know what I mean? Like
no, that's fair.
having to stand in line for like 45 minutes to just get into the store is a little on the frustrating side.
Sure.
But it's interesting when you're in line. You get to meet a lot of people, and I was incognito, kind of. I mean, obviously, I'm not painted up. I'm wearing a baseball hat. Um, it's amazing though. Other content creators know who, when you're a content creator, they're like,
Oh yeah.
That's you. You're the Philly sports guy. Um, and I'm like, just calling me right on out. I was like, hey, how about that? You know who I am. Who are you?
Yeah.
um, but I mean, it was interesting. They have the largest baseball in the world there, which is a really big baseball. Like you
I
can
should
stand in front
assume.
of it.
So, like, for scale, like, how big is this thing?
So people are taking pictures. I know Milt Thompson. He was taking pictures in front of it. He's 6 foot tall. He didn't make it up to halfway. So I
Oh,
would
okay.
say that this was
Okay.
about a 12-foot tall baseball.
Okay.
Just about, like
It is a big ball.
yeah. So it was, and it's signed by all the players. And I mean, I was going to go up there and Sharpie it, but I thought maybe they'd kick me out. So I decided not to.
I feel like there's a pretty good chance. But if you were trying to avoid the lines, be like, I got kicked out. I can't do any more of this.
Yeah, that's exactly. They did a couple of like really like so everything's like, all right, you got this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot, but then they would do little pop-ups. I wasn't there for this, but I heard like a friend of mine is there at one of the Budweiser places. He's sitting there having a beer, and they make a little pop-up. Next thing you know, Ken Griffey Jr. is right there, right next to him. And he happens to be like the first one in line just because he happens to be sitting at the bar. So,
Nice.
Interestingly enough, Ken Griffey Jr. is at the Futures game the next day. And I go run down. They have all the mascots, and the Futures game is like all AA, AAA, All-Star game.
Yeah.
And so they have all the mascots for the Phillies, AA, single A, AAA teams.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're about to jump up on the thing like the Fanatic would. It just so happens, like, I see them and I'm like, I got to go run down there real quick and do some content, and immediately do some content. And sitting right there in the dugout is Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh,
and
funny.
me just being told this story, I was like, hey, Ken, I hear you make a mean drink. because I heard he bartended for a little while afterwards, probably just pouring beers or whatever,
Sure.
And I'm just, hey, I just heard your story. Let me go say. He's like, yeah, I bartended for a second. Hold 1 second. Gets his camera out and takes like a couple pictures of me. He's like, you stay right there. And
Oh, that's
then
funny.
everybody comes in and takes the picture with me. It was actually, I'm interested to see the picture. It was actually a pretty cool picture.
Right on.
So, and then, obviously, and then they had this very unique, uh, it's the All-Star 3-on-3, MLBX 3-on-3, which is they put a stage at the pitcher's mound, which is, the
Okay.
smart thing to do. And then they had you had teams of three. So it was like Shane Victorino had one team, and Ryan Howard had one team, and who was the third one? It was Ryan Howard, uh, and then Andrew Jones from the Braves. Of course, he had a team, and but then they would have these other players, and so they brought in some of the softball players, like the girls softball players,
Oh, sure.
that to be in this. So each one of them was on the home run, was on a team. There's 4 teams in all, and then they had Jordan Mailata on one of the teams.
Okay.
Now you're only hitting the baseball. You're at the pitcher's mound now, so that difference is huge, and you're on a stage that's about 3 feet off the ground.
Sure.
So you have some help to get the home run.
Absolutely.
And it was cool to kind of see that. For the kids, it was a great thing. It went on a little long for me,
Okay.
but it was also cool to watch the girls really. It was the girls that really
Yes.
stole the show because
Yeah.
they're the ones smashing the ball. And the guys, like, you watch Jordan Mailata, who hits a couple of home runs, but it looked like they stitched 3 different baseball uniforms together to get him into one.
Yeah.
Like, he went up there and he just is so massive in comparison to everybody else on the stage. It was amusing to watch. But
Yeah. It's funny because, seeing the women, because we had the Celebrity All-Star Classic here in Seattle, right? And what ended up being the game MVP was a professional softball player. And I mean, she was mashing the ball. You're just like,
yeah,
oh, okay. Now, there was also some, professional baseball players that were there. And so, Home Run Derby was won by one of those, as you would imagine,
right.
because he was able to carry not only that softball through the fence that they built, but out of the stadium altogether.
Of
So,
course.
it. I think his final round, he had, I don't know, it was like 25 or 27 home runs. Like, I mean, he was just absolutely destroying the ball. And this was out of our AAA park down in Tacoma for the Rainiers, and so Cheney Stadium there. It was a great event, but it was funny because it was just like he ended up hitting a home run as a switch hitter just because he wanted to hit a home run a different way.
Understood.
And
Hey,
then
I'm gonna just switch sides to see if I can swing a bat this way.
pretty much. And so yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah, so sounds like a lot of fun. You know what? Congratulations!
Yeah.
I gotta give it to you right now because I know we haven't spoken. Congratulations to you guys. You know what? And you guys did a much better game against Spain than I thought you guys were going to. I did not give you much of a chance against Spain at all. And then it was like, oh, look at you guys bringing Spain to task, scoring a goal. I mean, it was the first goal scored on them in the entire World Cup up to that point. And, I you guys were pissed off when you guys played the U.S.
Yep.
and it showed. I mean, we talked about it,
Yep.
and it was you guys were on task against the U.S. And then you kept it on task against Spain. I really was surprised. I thought Spain would win that game like going away, and it was not like that at all. They wound up getting their goal in the 88th minute, and uh, which was, it's hard to come back when you only get like 7 minutes after that. But good showing by Belgium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was that was a better game than I was thinking. But to their credit, they definitely beat us up. So you
Right.
know, but and of course, lots of news out of Seattle, and this is probably the biggest news. We've been talking about it for years, really, and finally have a real offer that's come in. And this isn't accepted, but this is what it's proposed to be: $9.612 billion for one of the minority owners of the Niners. And so I thought that was hilarious. If you're a team that can't win a ring, you might as well buy into one, right? So I am pretty sure that they're going to make him sell his minority share in the Niners, obviously. And just because there'd be conflict of interest if you were a partial owner in multiple teams. So they're not really going to do that. But so yeah, in theory, this should go through in the next month or two. But yeah, 9.6, biggest purchase as far as an NFL team to date.
And also, from what I understand, it's what I read. He has to sell that off to be able to come up with the money.
Yeah, I
So
think he's going to have to sell it anyway.
yeah, I mean, obviously, he's not. We're talking about $10 billion.
Yeah.
When you think about that, he's not pulling that out and writing a check. Just so that people understand, it's like
Oh, of
there's
course.
a whole level of this finances that I will never understand. That it takes a bevy of lawyers and accountants to be able to do all of that type of stuff. And
Yes.
ultimately, he is, like I said, not only is it like conflict of interest, you can't own two teams, but from what I understood was that it's he has he had to put a deal in place for his share of the 49ers
Mm-hmm.
as part of the deal of this. So when the NFL is doing this, and listen, it's the NFL. What the NFL is going to do is just dot the I's and cross the T's here, and they're going to accept him as the new owner. Like,
Oh, of
so
course. Of
that
course.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's already played with this group, so this isn't something that's new to them. You know what I mean? He's going to be able to go and just be.
Well, and he's already part of like if you're a Seattle fan, he's already part of an ownership group that clearly wants to win, right? It's not like you have an ownership group that's like, oh, he was a minority owner of the Jets. You're like, oh man, I hope they don't bring any of that there. Like, I mean, you're with an organization that actively is trying to win. They've been in, a couple of Super Bowls in the last, 15 years, and they're in the playoffs every year. So, I mean, it's not like he's going to be bringing bad habits from another franchise. Obviously they didn't win a ring, but they were in a couple of them, right? So I mean, they're at least striving to get there. Again, if it was like a minority owner of the Browns or the Jets or something like, I'd be like, man, could we maybe not do that? Like, so, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they come in and try and mess with it, or do they look at this thing and be like, hey, it works. Let's try not to reinvent the wheel here.
Well, I think everything comes with time. So usually when you make the purchase like this, you either come in like gangbusters
Yep.
Or especially when you just bought a team that just won a Super Bowl,
Exactly.
my thought is that you want to sit back and watch for a year. Let's get everything figured out before I decide that I want to. Hey, why don't we move this toaster over here? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
before you start making the changes, you want to make sure that you're not disrupting because ultimately the first thing that you want to do after you just bought the team is win a ring, especially since that team just won a ring. But
Exactly.
hey, I spent $9 billion. I want to get my own ring. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's
No,
what I would think.
it, you would think you wouldn't want to mess with it too much, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's not what happens.
Exactly.
But and yeah,
Either way,
it
it'll
is
be
crazy money.
yeah, it's yes, well, but they print money there.
Yes.
They print money. You know, he's buying it for $10 billion, which is only like 2.5 times the value of the team. Might be
Uh,
three.
no. Actually, not even that, because they were saying that the valuation was it was like 6.8, I think is what it was. So, I mean, really not,
1.5 times is
yeah,
kind of what
yeah,
you're
not
saying there.
crazy. Yeah.
Not even 1.5 times. So, but
Especially for
again,
a
you're
team that
talking about
especially for a team that just won, it's a little surprising because I mean, that's when your value is as high as it's going to be, especially bringing most everything back from the team that just won.
yeah, but I mean, it's still $10 billion.
Oh, 100%. And especially when you figure Paul Allen bought it for like 170 million. So return on investment's pretty solid.
Right. I keep thinking of Brewster's Millions. 10 billion, 10 billion, $10 billion.
Exactly. Uh, and of course, only people 40 and older will remember that movie.
That's John Candy at one of his greatest moments.
Yep. Candy and Pryor, and yeah, great film.
Yes, it was.
Uh,
But I yeah, hey, listen, I suspect that this is going to go through. It should go through before the end, before the beginning of the season.
yeah, they expect this to get accepted next month, actually. So
Yeah, they're waiting on they're just waiting on the owners meeting. How do you think? I mean, I, I imagine people are going to start doing their due diligence on this family,
yeah, oh, of course.
and so there's not much known. But the Allen family was really well known there, right? I mean, they were kind
Oh
of
yeah.
beloved in that city.
Well, of course.
So, I mean, how do you think that the overall response is going to be to the Allen family leaving? Allen family leaving.
Well, I mean, it was part of Paul Allen's thing when he passed was that all of the sports teams were going to get sold. And so those are all in the works anyway. So it's not like this was a shock. Like it was a known quantity as soon as Paul Allen passed away. Um, really, kudos to Jody holding on to it this long. Because I mean, it really seemed like it was going to be sold within the first, 4 or 5 years is kind of what the speculation was. And if I remember right, he passed away in like 18. So I mean, shout out to her for keeping this thing and then winning another ring, right? So I mean, pretty cool in that way. But no, I think most people are going to be fine with it just because again, this was a long time building to this sale. I think where people are hung up today is really a Niners guy. But when you think of the ownership groups, it has less to do with the teams generally. It has to do with opportunity. So it's not necessarily that this guy wanted to be a Niners. It was probably he had an opportunity to get in on one of the sports teams. And, you know, similar to like Brady, do you think he just in the back of his mind was like, I want to have partial stake in the Raiders, or was that what was available to him at the time? Now, maybe he has some love for the Raiders. Definitely could be a thing. I know that there's relationships with the front office, stuff like that. Like I get it. But at the same time, had he been able to be a partial owner of a team a little bit closer, he might have still wanted to do that.
Maybe.
So,
I mean, you think about that. Like if Kraft was going to give him partial ownership of the Patriots, would he have wanted to be a Patriots owner? Would he have wanted to do Tampa as part of
exactly.
the ownership there and such like that? I mean, I can imagine. I also know why he probably chose Vegas. I mean, Vegas has the largest upside in the grand scheme of things. So, but I think that I mean, the one thing that it shows me is that this guy had ownership in a football team. Listen, sometimes you do things for financial reasons alone.
For
My
sure.
expectation is that he is a fan of the game.
Yes.
And that first and foremost is something that you should be happy about as
Yeah.
somebody who's a fan of this team. The fact that he came from a rival means that he's probably got a little hair on, against them. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
now that's perfect because it's part of the rivalry. It adds to the rivalry.
Yeah, if you drop 10 billion, I think you become a fan of the city because you're going to spend some time there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, for me, the biggest thing is he's coming from a franchise that, rival in the division for sure, but it's a franchise that tries to win. Like
Right.
they do everything they can, from the way they hire to the players they go get. Like they're a culture that does try to win. And so that's that's probably the biggest thing if you're here in Seattle, is be like, look, you got a guy that for all intents and purposes looks like he wants to win. And that's what you want, right? You don't want a guy that's like, oh, this is for financial reasons and I'm going to make a bunch of money on this down the line. You want a guy that's coming in like, look, what's really cool is hardware. Let's go get some of that.
Well, and listen, it's like his last name isn't Nintendo.
Exactly.
Isn't
Yeah,
it's not Samsung. It's not a corporation.
exactly.
This guy's got $10 billion, or his group has got $10 billion. This guy was able to put together a group that had $10 billion. This guy's already a winner.
Yeah.
No, like let's face it,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
He's
got
doing
a
fine.
lot more ways. He's got a lot more ways that he could die than me. You
Well,
know what I
not only that,
mean?
but we're talking about $10 billion that is on top of what everything else he does. It's not like this is bankrupting him.
Right, yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, no,
What
it's
does he do? What how did he make his money? Do we know that?
I had it written down, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
He
But
was the inventor of the 976 numbers.
pretty much. Is a tech guy, if I remember right.
I can
So
only imagine.
yeah,
I mean
but
that's that area. That whole area is tech.
yeah, I think he was a inventor of a microsystems. Yeah, there we go. Sun Microsystems. There we go.
Oh well,
Yeah.
only a small little company
Yeah.
called Sun.
He's doing okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, way to win at capitalism. Good job, guy. But I mean, obviously he was doing fine to be able to come up with $10 billion. So
There you go. God
and
bless him. And I wish him the best. I hope you guys don't win another Super Bowl in the next 5 years and we win them all. But
yes.
I see how you feel that way.
Makes total sense.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, listen, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So,
No, it
And I
definitely
would
is.
I would make sure that the moment that this occurs, that you definitely try again to get your credentials to cover the Seahawks.
Oh, I mean, I keep trying. I keep sending emails. They ignore them, but I keep sending them. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have an ownership that meddles in things, it can be a problem for sure. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. Jerry is a little bit of a he's a little bit of an enigma when it comes to the way he runs things. Incredible marketer, there is no question. But he doesn't always let football people do football things. He likes to kind of interject himself. Most owners aren't quite that involved. Like, I liked what Paul Allen did. He was around, but he hired people to do the job. Like, he wanted to win, but he wasn't like, I have to do this to make us win. It's like, okay, let me put the people in place that know what they're doing to get us there. And I would say most owners within the league try to do that. Jerry is about Jerry, and there's that element.
I mean, I think about the way that Jeffrey Lurie does it, and if you if you go by what you hear, he actually is a lot more involved as an owner than you would think. Like, hey, like, you listen, that he was a movie guy, so he knew how to run movies and be the financier on movies, and not good movies either, like Sharknado and things like that. So he was like, B run movies.
Successful though.
Well, yeah, listen.
Terrible movie, but successful.
He bought this franchise at like 175 million from a guy who had bought it for like, maybe it was 375 million, but it was like he bought it from somebody who bought it for like 67 million. So
Yeah.
that guy, who was a used car salesman, and I'm still like, I I'm not a big fan of Norman Bremen ever. Like, I would not, like I said, just be happy that I don't, know where his grave is. Um, but anyways, he was a used car salesman and then threatened to take the team everywhere else. They'd be the Arizona Eagles had he had his way.
And Spence, you're not wrong, man. Yeah. Legitimately was in junior high. Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Exactly.
To be fair, that was also the same time the Niners did too. So, shout out to those division rivals.
But anyways, so I mean, there we go. At least we'll get to see how that all works out, and
Yep.
you figure he's not trying to move the team. He's not saying, "Hey, I like, there's some place in Montana that I think that this team would do wonderful at."
Well, and you also know, because they're going to make him sell his share in the Niners, that there's not going to be a JSN just traded for a 7th rounder. Be like, wait a minute. I feel like there was some insider trading going on there.
Yeah, just a little bit. But it's interesting that we're talking about it like that, because if you go into the NBA, the Celtics ownership group, the majority stake owner of that team, is also a minority stake ownership of the Spurs.
Yeah, see, that's weird. It doesn't seem like leagues should let that happen.
Well, and especially since it's a group.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. We talked about how the group has created the situation with the Sixers and the Celtics and things of that nature. And then that's how it really came out, that I found out that they also own a 10% ownership of the Spurs. Now, they don't make any of the day-to-day decisions.
Yeah, I mean, at 10%, I would assume not. But
For either team, and they own the
oh,
majority
okay,
stake of the Celtics too. So they're not making any of the decisions for day to day. However, I can imagine that this was a financial decision done for Jaylen Brown,
sure,
and that's where this starts to become like,
exactly.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
see,
Like,
and that's the thing, right? Is it whether there's anything behind it or not? All of a sudden, you're like, seems sketchy.
a little
So
bit.
yeah,
But everything's done because of financial reasons. I mean, that's what makes the world go round.
no question, no question. But I mean, that's where I kind of like the way that the NFL does this. Is like, okay, you can be a minority owner, and then you're trying to step up to be the majority. Well, you got to get rid of that minority stake, and like it keeps the competition level perception that you're not double dealing, right? Um, and
It's
maybe it's like
almost like gambling. Yeah, it's almost like the whole gambling thing.
Mhm.
You almost like you can't have two guys that are in cahoots with each other on either end of a poker table.
Yeah, of
Can't
course.
do that. It's not prudent. Does it happen? I'm sure of it.
Of course it does. That's how you get beat up and buried in the sand. Because if they catch
Anybody
you,
who saw Rounders knows.
exactly.
Don't cheat at the cop game.
Yep.
But
Another great film.
it's yeah, exactly. But you can't. It makes me wonder. Like, oh, like, well, yeah, are they favoring San Antonio over the Celtics, and that's why they decided to like, hey, listen, we're going to save money here,
Mhm.
and we're going to make sure that San Antonio has now an easier path to win their rings against the East.
And that's the thing is it's like, is there anything really there? No, but the narrative is there because you're like, well, look, you could perceivably do it. And that's where, that's where I don't like it. That's why I like the idea of, okay, if you're going to do that, especially as a division rival, you know, you got to sell that other end. I think that should be something that every league should do, really. You want to step up
I
and be a
agree.
majority owner, then get rid of your minority somewhere else.
Okay. And anyways, I'm going to switch it up a little bit
Okay.
because tonight we have probably the one event that happens during any all-star situation
Mhm.
throughout all of sports that people actually pay attention to a little bit.
And that's the home run derby.
The home run derby. That is correct.
Yeah.
Now,
That's always fun.
I would say that I'm a little frustrated about the fact that I do not see Otani's name on the list. And it made me wonder a little bit on why not. Because, I mean, listen, they usually only have like 8 guys do the home run derby. They don't want to do
Yep.
that. I really do wish they had um, like I like the idea of what they did yesterday with the futures at the futures game where they had the 3-on-3 and they brought back some of the people who used to hit home runs and they made it closer and they watch you hit home runs. I wish you could see a couple of hey, these are the guys that's what they do for a living anymore. All they do is hit home runs and they're out
Mhm.
there and doing this. I mean, Otani yesterday hit his 22nd home run in the game.
Yeah.
In an actual game. The fact that he's not in the home run derby against like Phillies and stuff like that, like I would want to see that. You want to see the guy who hits, the guy who's looked at as Babe Ruth in
Yeah,
this league right now.
for
Because I
sure.
asked that question last night, and I was like, out of all of sports, name people that are Michael Jordan-esque at the moment. Like in all of sports, and there's really only two people that you can name: Shohei Ohtani
Mhm.
and Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Those two are the only two. Everybody else falls significantly short. Like, and you could say that, hey, LeBron James could be in that mix. Not right now as he's playing. You know what I mean? He still
Yeah.
may have the cachet to be able to hold that moniker, but he's not playing of that level. Messi's still scoring goals in an elite level. Shohei Ohtani is still MVP caliber
Yep.
every time he goes up to bat. So, uh, not having them in the All-Star in the Home Run Derbies, I would love to have seen that.
Yeah.
And of course, Judge being hurt
Mhm.
also makes that a little frustrating. You would have loved to have seen him play. It's
Yep.
possible he's not even going to be back this season. Uh, I also, just so they know, I went to an event the other night where they had J Rod's bat when he hit the 81 home runs in the Home Run Derby.
Oh, okay.
They were selling that bat. Uh, the bat that he used was the painted bat that Victus creates these painted bats
Okay.
for the Home Run Derby. It wasn't the actual bat.
Oh, it
It
was a rep.
was it was the replica bat, but they were selling that
Gotcha.
bat for like $650. I was like, oh, you know, interesting stuff. So the fact that he's not in it, it's a little frustrating too, because it would have been cool to kind of get some of that stuff happening and
Mhm.
see all that stuff. But here are your players in the Home Run Derby: Kyle Schwarber,
Yep.
Ben Rice, Junior Caminero, Jordan Walker, Bryce Harper, Wilson Contreras, Monica Murakami. I'm sure Munataka Murakami. I'm sure I killed his name.
A White Sox.
And yes, but
that
listen,
that's where we're putting it.
first place White Sox.
Yeah.
Who
Right.
would have thought that 2 years ago?
Zero people.
Exactly. And Jack Caglione.
Yep.
So, if you were to ask me who's going to win this, uh, I would have all of my money on Kyle Schwarber,
Hmm.
with a little flyer on Bryce Harper, just because.
Sure.
Without, and maybe a small little on Minnetonka.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that the rookie. I mean, he's a rookie this year, right? I think who's hitting a lot of home runs. I think that kid could probably swing out of his shoes to be in this tournament. I was also surprised that they did not allow the local kid from the Tigers to get in this tournament as well. I understand, but it is All-Star Week here, so I got to talk a little bit about it.
Yep.
Um, uh,
That's what keeps us a well-rounded sports show.
exactly. But they oh my lord, I'm so bad that this is. But he's a local kid. And he's from Delaware County, and he plays on the Tigers. And he's playing in his. He's a rookie, and he's in the All-Star game. So, which is amazing. I know most of his family is going to be here for that. I would have liked to have seen him in the Home Run Derby. He doesn't have a tremendous amount of home runs, but it's like I thought maybe because he was the local kid, he would be in it. He's not. He's going to get a lot of fanfare anyways. Like, it's going to be
Sure.
amazing. He grew up right down the street from me. And as we get past this, I have another set of questions for everybody. I want to see what anybody would ask, because I'm going to be on the red carpets with a microphone in my hand asking these baseball players questions. And I want to see what questions would be good, to be able to ask these players. I would like my thing is I like to ask all the players one question to get all of their answer,
Hmm.
but I want to have 2 or 3 questions on deck for this specifically.
Okay.
But anyways, but back to the home run derby, you know, like I said, Kyle Schwarber or Bryce Harper is my pick. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was thinking Schwarber, honestly, was probably going to have the best shot of winning this thing. To your point, I would have liked to have seen Otani. Obviously, Judge is hurt, and but you want to see the guys that are just absolutely destroying the baseball in that. So, but based on the lineup that's there, Schwarber was the guy I thought is the front runner here. Harper, it just depends on the day, right? Like it's like he could be smashing it or he could not be that great. So,
So
just kind of depends on where he is. Um,
they are ranking to put the rank on this. MLB puts the rank out there. They have number 1 is Kyle Schwarber.
yeah, that makes sense.
Which again, not a surprise.
Mhm.
Uh, then it goes number 2, Bryce Harper.
Yep.
Figure they're both the home team here. I like that. They have Junior Caminero is number 3 on the list, and then Munetaki Murakami as 4th.
Mhm.
Then followed by Jordan Walker.
Yep.
I sometimes can't stand all the ads.
I know
Jack
it's a lot.
Caglione. It's Wilson Contreras and
Mhm.
Ben Rice last.
Yep.
They don't give Ben Rice any chance. Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Uh,
The
exactly.
big thing about Ben Rice is that he's not Judge.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of messed up that that's what they wrote.
Right. Yeah, he's not Judge.
So,
So I literally I think it's going to be Schwarber, and I think it's going to come down. Uh, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I think it's going to come down to Harper and Schwarber.
oh,
Like I
agreed.
think that those are going to be the 2 that are going to go compete against each other at the end, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean,
There has been numerous years where we have seen people that get into the home run derby,
mhm.
and at the end, after that home run derby, their swing is not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the good thing about these two guys is they've been here before, right? So it's something that you're more likely to overcome than it's your first time there. You change your swing to do it, and then you're trying to figure out your swing after the fact. Both these guys have been in multiple All-Star games and home run derby, and so I think I think you'll be fine in this scenario.
Well, and
They're
that's what
they're veterans enough for that.
Schwarber swings it the exact same way every time.
Yeah.
So that's what he does. He only likes to hit home runs, and sometimes will hit singles and doubles. And on the very rare occasion that he gets a very unique bounce, he can maybe get a triple. But
Yeah. Yeah, he
most
gets
of the time,
singles because he didn't barrel up his home run swing.
right? And he gets doubles because he's too slow to get triples sometimes.
Pretty
So
much.
that's how that all works. Uh, Harper has been swinging the bat pretty well as of late.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting between those 2. Like I said, I think that Murataki guy is gonna I he'd be the one that I'd be nervous about being in this tournament because I can imagine that he's gonna barrel up and his
Sure.
swing may change because of this.
Well, and
But
he's a younger guy, so he doesn't know he's supposed to lose either, right? It's that whole wreck it. You got that perfect game, go wreck this thing. So, he'll be interesting to watch during this.
absolutely. So I do have Schwarber winning it, and I think he wins it going away. This
Yeah.
is like I am going to be sitting out in left center field.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I won't be getting any of these home runs from those guys because they're both left-handed. They're going to be going the opposite field where
Right.
I am going to be where I'm at. But I am bringing my baseball glove.
Just in case.
Well, no, you got listen. This is the one time if you're going to be sitting out there in the outfield,
Mhm.
at a home run derby, you bring the ball glove. You bring the glove.
Sure, because your chance of getting one is significantly higher.
Well, that and listen, I got some big mitts, but balls hurt when
Yes,
they're
they do.
hit. You know what I mean? And like some of these balls aren't arcing. They're like line drive balls.
Yeah.
I don't want to try to catch it like that. I don't want it to imprint my hand with the stitches.
Yeah.
I have to use that hand afterwards. I won't say for what, but I have to use
I was like, oh, that's going to a weird spot.
it.
Way to make it weird on a Monday.
Exactly. But but I will have my like I said, I'm putting on a glove and we're gonna be doing this. I may even give a glove to the girlfriend and have her get a chance at catching these balls too. And
Okay.
you get that special ball. You never know if you catch that special ball, it's win a trip to the World Series or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get that winning home run, like anything can happen.
And just imagine, here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to have my glove on the ball. You're going to see me reach out. You're going to see the painted head and the mohawk, and you're going to have me try to catch that ball, and it's going to bounce out of my glove.
Right.
I will have. That's what I see happening. Like
Yes.
here we go. I'm going to get that ball. Nope. And that's going to be the ball that you win the $1 million and all this other stuff, and somebody else is going to get it because I can't catch.
That'll be that viral moment. Almost had it. Exactly.
But also, tomorrow, like I said, I may or may not be able to be on. I know that we have our normal Tuesday guest here as well,
yep.
but I am going to be on the red carpet, and we're going to get to be able to talk to these ball players. And I wanted to see if there were any questions that you or our listeners would be interested in asking ball players. Now, listen, I'm not going to be able to ask anything weird. Can't be fun, like it's not like this is not that spot, you know.
Yep.
I'm going to, but I get to ask these ball players some questions, and I have a couple of thoughts from like I got some easy questions for them and such like that. But I wanted to know what would you ask if you had one question to ask every ball player so that you could at least compare answers and be able to get these questions out fairly quickly. What question would you ask?
I mean, I guess from a journalist side, I would be curious to hear what what their approach is to this game versus a normal game, right? Because you're playing with new people, you're playing in a different situation altogether. Does that affect your prep for this game, or are you just embracing the chaos that is All-Star Week?
Okay. So you would want to go technical, like, hey, I'm going to actually
Yeah, I'd
report.
ask a real question personally. And maybe it's just because I spend a lot of time in press conferences at this point.
Yeah, that could be.
So,
My first question to them, or like the number one question that I have kind of on my list is, uh, name the player
mhm,
that you idolized growing up,
sure.
or you mimic, you know, your play after.
Mhm.
That
And, that would kind of fall into this, you know, when you wanted to be a baseball player. That usually comes from the guys that they idolized.
Right. Or actually, because truth of the matter is that a lot of these baseball players were multi-sport guys.
True.
And to be honest, they were great at all the sports. So it doesn't really matter in most cases. Like you're an athlete. So asking that question, what made you decide to choose baseball over the other sports
Yeah.
that you were great at? And when was that decision made?
Mhm.
I like that question, Joe. It's a good question.
Mhm.
Like I said, the technical question, I don't mind asking technical questions. I think that when you try to get them thinking, especially when they're sitting there and they're taking pictures and they're on the red carpet, and now they got to come up to somebody who's got a painted face.
Well, I mean, based on didn't think about you being painted up. I guess that's where you ask what pregame rituals do you have? Because that definitely comes from a painted guy. Like, what superstitious thing do you have? Because
I like that
players have
question.
something. Most
Are
of them
you a
have
superstitious guy, and what is your biggest superstition?
that.
That's and being like talking to clowns.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, stuff like that would definitely be up there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Like, I like that thought process. Because I feel like I need a list of 5 questions because I'm not sure how long I'm going to get these guys coming through. So I figure it's like, okay, I'm going to have 2 cards. I get their faces. So I get to, oh, we have this guy right here.
Yeah.
And like I said, thank God I have that because I'm so bad with names.
Mhm.
And then it's like, okay, we're going to now film, this, and I got microphone. I got the new things here. So like, you're going to hear the answers to these questions. You may not have, and the camera could be all over the place, but you're going to hear the answers to these questions.
Nice.
Which I'm really excited about because I've not had that before. It's like, here I'm doing it this way. So
Yep.
this is going to be a little bit more fun and exciting for me. But, that's, as I said, these guys are all stars, and they're sitting here and we are doing the red carpet at Independence Mall. So this is at the backdrop of where they signed the Declaration of Independence and the Liberty Bell,
Mm.
all right there, where the Constitution was signed, and cobblestone streets and things like that. A bridge that's 100 years old that I just got to walk across.
And you're going to be painted up, asking them what they had for breakfast. Like, that seems right.
Exactly. I like that one. Like that's asking an all-star who would be like, that's like asking their all-time player, I guess. Like what collectible, what baseball card, would you want to have signed? Or because my other question is, if you got the opportunity to exchange a jersey with someone else in sports, anyone else in sports, who
Okay.
would you exchange jerseys with?
That's a good one.
So that's because that gets them to think about a lot of different things. Like when I asked that to the football players at a softball tournament, when they did the softball classic, and you said, who is your all-time non-football favorite player? You know what I mean? And you get lots of different answers there.
Mhm.
And I will forget the one guy. He's like LeBron James. I'm like, LeBron. No, Michael. He's like, argue with your mama. I was like, that's a great answer. You know what I mean? So, But those are the types of questions I like. I want to be able to get them to think about, because you could ask about their hey, which coach was the most influential for you, to get to this point in your career.
Sure.
Like that's, you know, you would think that most of them would say their father. That's.
Yeah,
I mean, there might be a high school coach or whatever, but
that's what I
like
was going to
who?
say.
Yeah,
It was, if it's not their dad, I would imagine it was probably a high school coach, something like that.
right.
Or
That's
maybe a college coach that just imparted some nugget that stuck.
well. You think about it. Baseball is just now starting college as a real thing.
Mhm.
Not, it's like before, it's college never really got to play a part. You
Yep.
are now seeing college is now moved up in the ranks because of what they did during COVID.
Mhm.
It forced colleges, or it forced ball players to go the college route rather than right out of high school and not go to college and just do baseball all the time.
Mhm.
So uh, I
Well,
think that
and
that's actually a
it's funny because sometimes you'll get something that sticks with you that you wouldn't really think about. And one of the ones that I got was when I was first started playing semi-pro ball was, one of my coaches was like, look, don't go out there and try and do too much, right? Go out there and make a play. And that play can become the play, but don't try and make the play, right? Like don't in your mind try and do too much. Just go out there and do your job, and making that play may become the play, right? Like it may be the play that changes the game, whatever, but don't go out there trying to change the game, because you'll end up out of position. You're doing too much. You'll miss things. And that was something that stuck with me. I was just like, oh, that's a great way to look at it. It's like, hey, just go do your job. Because there's plenty of coaches that are like, don't do too much. And it's like, okay, well, what's that mean? Right. So for him to be like, just go make a play, and that play may become the play. And it's like, okay, I can do something with that. And so, it was something that stuck with me. And that was a semi-pro position coach.
right. No, and I get that. Like where I was always good at catching the ball, but I was too slow to be a wide receiver.
Sure.
When you got big hands, you can catch a football. That's what I'm
Yep.
really good at. And I was initially having a really difficult time going from offense to defense. Not because I didn't like to hit anybody, but because I always went for the ball.
Sure.
And it took a coach to tell me, listen, you're not getting the ball. They're not throwing it to you. So there's going to be times when you're going to get the bead, but you're not fast enough to catch the bead. So you got to start thinking about, instead of catching the ball, getting your hand in the way,
Yep.
and knocking the ball down and putting your hand through somebody, which will make all the difference in the world. And truth of the matter is that immediately, like I said, it took, because I never thought about it. It's like you're always just going after the ball. So I was like Diggs. I was either getting the interception
Or burn.
or getting burnt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was until somebody said, "Hey, listen, you got to stop thinking like that. You're not going to get it. They're not throwing it to you." Because that's what
Exactly.
you're thinking. You're thinking that they're throwing it to you, and that's how you go after the ball. But they're not throwing it to you, so that's what makes the difference. And once you start to think of it like that, all of a sudden, I was like, so simple of a thought process. But if you're not thinking it, it's the furthest the thing from what what's real. And it
Absolutely.
made me a much better defender.
And how about that? You guys get some nuggets right here at the end of the show. If you've been watching along, be sure to like and subscribe. And of course, if you are listening on 97.3 ICU radio, we do have some smooth jazz to start out your week.
Ooh, jazz.
Otherwise, we will see y'all tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.